Hey, what's up, HR Famous? Cold Read Time. We're sponsored by HRU Tech. Remember, that's not HRU Technical. That was too much for the man. It's HRU Tech providing technical talent, Tim, providing a lot of things, government contractor.
Sounds like a question. Is that like, are you sure what you're doing over there at HRU Tech?
It's the best type of cold read when you actually ask a question for clarification. The other thing that I want to mention for our listeners as we talk about HRU Tech is they're really good at hiring veterans. So just out, hot off the presses, a PDF, a white paper, if you will, from ebook, from HRU Tech, 28.6% of your hires in the last year, Tim, have come from veterans. What do you have to say for yourself? That's awesome.
It was a number, KD, when you start running your stats and your metrics at the end of the year, you find some things that surprise you. And one of the things, we knew we hired a lot of veterans, but what it surprised us was that it was 1 out of 4, right? That 25% plus. And then we started kind of backtracking and trying to figure it out. And of course, it's a combination of roles, but also I totally give credit to our recruiter, Brian, who was a tanker. He was he's a veteran himself, hired him without any recruiting experience, grew him up organically, naturally here at HRU. And it turns out if you hire veterans to recruit, they know the language and they can hire more veterans.
So, Tim, I will say that your technical chops in the world of all things military do much more than that, by the way. But the technical chops are so good that my son, who's a sophomore at Auburn, interacted with one of your recruiters, who shall remain nameless. And
it rhymes with Jim Hackett.
Yeah, it rhymes with Cheryl Backett. Anyway, he interacted with this recruiter who will remain nameless. And 2 days later, he's getting a call from a recruiter who fills internships and co-ops for the Minuteman missile project.
Hey now.
So imagine my son's surprise at getting that call. Just goes to the overall chops. Jessica Lee, let's bring you in here. When you think about a vet hire from the world of movies, what do you got for us? Who do you envision? What's somebody from pop culture that you envision when you think vet hire? And
Forrest Gump.
I was going to say, I knew she was going to say Forrest Gump. I knew she was going to say
Forrest Gump. Bubba, his friend Bubba.
I love Bubba. I was just getting ready to come in and say, keep it classy.
Yep.
It doesn't get classier than Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks, what's there to not like? Tom Hanks is as good as it gets.
Yeah. There's some different ways that could go, I think, but we're all good. We're good with that. Let me tell you.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
Yeah. I'm thinking, here's who I think about, Tim.
What?
I'm thinking about JT Joker Davis, who was played by Matthew Modine in Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah, I was thinking any of the people like Tom Cruise or Demi Moore from A Few Good Men. One of my favorite, Jack Nicholson courtroom scenes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say G.I. Jane when you started saying Demi Moore.
Same. JLee. That's where I thought he was going.
Same.
Yeah. No. Mm-mm. So hey, there's so many companies out there, Katie. What we've learned, so many companies say they want to hire vets. A lot of lip service. If you truly want to hire vets, you got to speak their language because there's no correlation between what you do in the military role-wise in terms of the name, in terms of maybe the job description, and then you come back to civilian life and you have all these different titles, different roles. And what we found was an actual veteran can connect those dots. And that was the main learning, right, that we took. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so if Forrest Gump and JT Joker Davis doesn't do it for you, how about Gunnery Sergeant Tom Highway, Gunny Highway, played by Clint Eastwood? in Heartbreak Ridge. Have you seen that movie, JLee?
No clue.
Okay. Just like we'll move this along then. So in sum, HRU Tech, good at a lot of things, really good at recruiting in general, but also shout out to the veterans. You're obviously one of our most important assets. And by the way, Tim, should veterans seek you out to get registered?
For sure. Yeah. Just find us on the LinkedIn's or the Googles, or, you can just Google Tim Sackett. It's me or the truck driver chaplain. So
HRU Tech, look them up today. Cam, hit the music.
All right. Hey, gosh, you know what I love when we start episode 52, 1 year, 52 episodes in to this magical thing that we're doing. It doesn't get better than a 5-minute read by KD to start, a live 5-minute commercial, which really we turned into a segment, not really a commercial. Maybe that's the best part of all of this, what we've learned. So, hey, everybody, if you're new to the show, welcome. If you've been with us since day one, wow, we can't believe it. We haven't even listened to all 52 episodes. So thank you for being a part of that. I think JLee's family is the only one that's listened to all 52. But I'm here with, of course, the crew, Chris and Jessica. How are you guys doing?
I have a question. I think I actually have listened to all 52. I go back and listen. Do you guys go back and listen after the fact?
I can't tell you I've done every single one. I do a lot of them. I find myself smiling way too often listening. And like my wife will look at me like, why are you smiling? I like my earbuds in. She's like, why are you smiling? And I'm like, I just like, I get enjoyment out of listening to our conversation.
Me too. Maybe are we narcissists? We just like to listen to ourselves. Maybe that's what we just admitted to.
Yeah. Katie, do you like the sound of your voice when you listen back on
No, not at all. Not at all. Does anyone like the sound of their voice? Jessica?
No, of course not. It's higher pitched than I expect. And so now I will make my voice lower pitched.
I know. We need to put some actual money into this puppy and like get the board that can make us all sound like, like Barry White.
I'm going to start smoking cigarettes again and then just have a smoky voice.
Wow. Again. Look at that.
Did you
drop the knowledge? Yeah.
Oh wait, you didn't know I was a smoker? I smoked for like 10 years.
No, I knew that, but did you have a gravelly Marge Simpson's sisters type voice?
No.
No, you never did.
Go ahead, Katie.
I've listened to probably about 70% after we did them.
Jessica,
do you get the cravings? Do you miss smoking?
I do. After a really good meal, specifically after a very good Korean meal. Miss it.
Yeah. Huh. That's where you go. We had a lot of big plans here for episode 52, 1 year, a lot of celebrations. We got shirts made up like we did, like JLee and I get for our 100 rides on Peloton, which again, I'm only 9 away as of this episode 52. Whoa, hey now. And I don't know why I keep doing the Howard Stern, hey now, but so we want to do a little behind the scenes. And one of the things I think that people don't realize is often we do a lot of discussion and talking before we actually get on and hit record. And we should and Katie says this constantly, we should just hit record the moment we get on, because some of the 15 or 20 minutes we don't record are probably the best 15 or 20 minutes. But also probably would have gotten us canceled at this point, right?
Well, I don't think we would have been canceled. I certainly would have been fired from my job by this point, or I would have quit the pod. One of the two. I mean, there would be a choice I'd have to make there.
Not that you never said anything bad about Marriott. It's conversation that's a little more lively between friends, right?
It wouldn't have been anything I said. It would have been the company I keep that was a concern. Like, wow, those are your friends? Okay.
I think early observations and memories, like literally 2.5 minutes into our first episode, JLee was crawling all over me for saying Marriott. See, I don't I've lost do you remember that, JLee? Over me.
I didn't know if you were going to say that, or I feel like you always like to I think I probably make fun of how old you are. And so you were going to either say I pointed out generational differences or the Marriott thing, because both happen. Yes.
Yeah. So, generational hate. Yeah, that's like part of the game plan. What's going on right now with millennials
hating? No, it's Gen Z hating millennials, by the way.
Like they're going after them like they're boomers, right?
They don't like our hair and my jeans.
Why? Because you got mom jeans or low cut jeans? What's the
No, neither. It's because we all wear skinny jeans and they don't like the, harsh side part. But my feeling is if I had a middle part, and everyone can't see this, but I would look like Cher or Morticia Adams. And it's like, that's not a good look.
I have 3 Gen Z sons, and I'm trying to think of they don't really wear a whole lot of jeans. Like they just wear a lot of sweatpants and shorts. I don't know. Katie, what about your kids?
Same. Shorts.
Yeah.
That's because it's all boys, though.
That's true.
So it's girls are ragging on each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Us and our pumpkin spice lattes, we're so basic is what they say.
Mm.
So yes, now I know how it feels, Chris. I do.
Coming after you.
So what else? What else have you guys learned after 51 episodes? This being episode 52. What did you assume that wasn't true, or what have you learned from doing these that you didn't realize you would? Anything specific?
I think one of the things I've realized is that I used to think a lot of prep beforehand to have my point of view was the right way to go about this. And I think I have learned, I feel better about winging it, but it's always very nerve-wracking for me because I feel like I need to be thoughtful about how I represent myself, my personal brand, how I represent my company, but it's just better to wing it. And I should be confident in my instincts and good judgment and that I won't do anything really dumb. So that's one big learning.
Yeah, we probably do more planning than what people realize in terms of actually having conversations behind the scenes of what we want to talk about and who's going to talk about what. Sometimes it might not come across that way. I was surprised. I thought, again, all 3 of us have written forever on HR blogs, whether that's Fistful of Talent or The Capitalist or The Project. I thought for sure that the people that listen were going to be the same people that just read our blogs. That's what I just thought that was going to happen. And I get so many messages from people that are podcast listeners that don't read the blogs at all. And I was surprised by that. It turns out people that listen to podcasts aren't necessarily people who read blogs. So it's a different audience, which I think is really awesome. And I mean, the same kind of audience, it's talent and HR people, professionals that are out there working for companies, making it happen, which is awesome. But not necessarily the same audience. KD, did you see any of that?
A little bit. What do you think the penetration rate of podcasts is across the entire, let's just call it talent landscape, whether it's TA, HR, leadership, how many of those type of people at all levels listen to a podcast like this one? What's your guess? What's the guess on the percentage?
1%.
Wow. So it's that low. Humbling.
It's a big population. Don't forget.
It is a big, no,
it is a big population.
If we went out and again, the classic example is Katie, you've worked really big. You've spoken at really big rooms at SHRM National.
Tell me more.
I've been in those rooms, so have I.
Signing books there.
Let's say there's 1,000 SHRM National attendees, and we asked the question. We could ask both questions. One,
humbling.
Who reads my blog? Nobody. And then, hey, who listens to the pod? There would be, I would say, 5 to 10 times more people that read the blog than that listened to the podcast, right?
Yeah, that's probably true. And I would say there is some carryover for me. I hear people that are readers of both The Capitalist and Fistful who are out there with the podcast. So that's cool. But there are some new people as well. I got a note from a former recruiter at a client of Kinetics who I met, once upon a time, not really connected with him in any way. And he popped up in my LinkedIn and said, hey, I'm on the podcast. Great job. Just saying hi. And, so you never know where that's going to come. I, like JLee, really feel like prep is overrated now. I like to have a broad outline.
I would like to hear from the audience on that, but okay.
And it works for me. And I like to just like get into it. I think the other thing that you get more comfortable with is knowing that if you have a thought, sometimes the conversation leaves the point where you can insert that thought, and you get better and more comfortable at just letting that be over time. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we're like interacting. So we still talk over each other a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think we probably do that less. But I think when we do talk over each other, it's just because like we're having fun and we're excited and we're not trying to get our thought in as much these days.
Yeah, totally. It's the other thing that surprised me, and I don't know if I still believe it, but you guys say that people like it when I host more, and I never had the intent coming in that I was going to host. I was just here for like the ride and for funsies. And so like hosting was very daunting to me, and I'm still surprised, but I'm embracing it more. And I realize I got to pull my weight. I can't just sit passenger side all the time, but that's a surprise. So
I've had specific, people reach out and say they really like when you actually lead, partly because when you lead, I think you end up talking more. And, Katie and I can suck the freaking oxygen out of a room. So it gives you a chance to really kind of present yourself, more than what we do.
You guys don't suck the oxygen out of the room. I've met worse who just like to talk. Oh.
We try, yeah. One of the things I told you guys, before we were kind of doing like show note stuff before, like Katie's like, you're not going to cry, are you? Like, what's, like you baby.
Cue the music.
Cue the fireworks. Maybe
waterworks.
I come from a family of men. As I got older, they get emotional and cry, which my wife keeps like warning me about. Like, you're not going to be like your grandpa, right? Like, but no, like I truly feel like I've become closer to you guys as friends. And like, I actually every week can't wait to have a conversation with my friends, even though we know like we're recording it and it's going out to like other people that are our friends now. Like, but I really crave that. I crave that time. And maybe it's the pandemic, and maybe once we get back to normal life, we won't want it. But I'm like, no, like I actually enjoy having this conversation with you guys and talking shop.
Oh, I enjoy it too. Real quick note on the crying. The only person who's cried on the pod is actually Chris Dunn, though. Like that's like it was tears. It was laughter. It was laughter.
Tears of joy.
It was tears of joy. But it
was the first time I've ever seen Chris like break down like that.
Triple Timmy touch.
Yes.
Which, by the way, when I went back and listened to it, I don't think it was as fun. It's probably not as funny to other people, but for me, that was just pure comedy gold.
It's another behind the scenes thing is we get to actually see each other. So we're all looking at each other on webcam. We use Squadcast, and there's some other ones out there, as well. But so even though you guys don't see the video, and maybe, in the year 2, we'll actually change some of that and put some all video ones up, except then, Jessica would be forced to, put way more time into, her background appearance of her son's room and, everything like that. Katie and I could care less, but
I have no shame in my game. This is how we live. It's like for work, like with meetings and Zoom, I don't hide where I am. I want people to know like this is real life. There's an unmade bed.
You got, like Beck's underoos back on the bed and the mattress in the background, and
Yeah. I don't lock the door for work, but for this I do lock the door. But no, Tim, I agree. Like this is a highlight of the week for me. And I do feel like if we're going to get sappy, Chris is waiting to hear it. This has been it's been great. Like I feel like we have gotten closer, and there's ups and downs. We don't always agree. Mostly I don't agree with Chris all the time, but it's been great.
I like to be Switzerland.
Yeah. Tim does have like that tendency where he likes to run neutral.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't, he just likes to be accepted by the highest percentage possible of people.
He's good at diffusing though, and trying to change the subject, because he's like, oh, this text thread is going in the wrong direction and someone's going to get angry.
You and I are more opinionated. You and I like are a little more willing to like alienate someone like based on our thoughts. I tell you, one of the things.
But you guys are way nicer than I am. Like I'm like way darker, like privately, like with my comedy than you guys are.
Oh, I thought you were going a different direction with that. I think like one of the reflections for me is it's possible we couldn't have started a podcast at a worse time because we did this in February of 2020.
Yeah.
We were like super eager. And then like literally we're in episode 8 or 9 and we're talking about nothing but COVID because really that's what was on everybody's mind. And, you know, we kind of wanted it to be, I think, a little more fun than that. So we had that, all the social unrest that followed, you know, post George Floyd, lots to talk about and really not easy. It's probably easier for Tim and I, like where we work, certainly than it is for JLee. But, you know, there were easier times to start a podcast is, I guess, how I would frame that.
Well, but you haven't even said what the harder topics were. So yes to all of that. But, you know, we can now look back and I can look back and talk about like some of these things more because it's been public and in the news. But like our respective companies were all going through stuff, like hard stuff where it was like we couldn't like there were weeks where it was like there's nothing to record. I cannot talk about anything. Or it was like we're literally going through hell and I cannot carve out time to have fun on a podcast when we're doing some really serious stuff.
Jay, I forgot that early on there was a lot of that where we were like, holy crap, like what can we talk about? Because you couldn't talk about anything. There was like, I mean, again, we just didn't know what we didn't know being in the beginning of the pandemic and like everything being closed down. It was kind of crazy. Hey, can we talk about the lost episode?
Oh, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
It's like, let's let JLee describe it because it was really her brainchild. It's in the archives. By the way, JLee, I'll throw it to you with this. Like, I know it was early. I know we were rougher back then than we are now.
Is it episode 3?
Two or 3, but it's kick ass. Go, Jay.
Well, so part of the issue is we didn't have like the right sound setup. We, meaning me, didn't have the right sound setup. So I think that's part of the issue. It would sound janky at this point if we published it, but maybe we will for just, you know, giggles and stuff. But I had read an article in the New York Times. It was like one of those advice things. And the topic was about periods in the workplace. And I felt like
not grammar periods.
Oh yeah, correct. It was, you know, Aunt Flo, the thing, whatever you want to call it. But it was about periods in the workplace. And it really got my attention. I was like, we are talking about this. And I think you guys said, if we were talking about it, you got to host it. So yeah, thanks a lot. But you know, it's like, it'd be weird to talk about that now or try to recreate it also because like we literally most of us have not been in the office in a while. And so part of the awkward thing I wanted to talk about was like, as a woman, like, you know, you gotta like, you have your period, you don't want to talk about it at work. And I think the article was also this guy who was tired of all his female coworkers talking about their periods. And I just feel like women walk around in shame of like, oh, I gotta like go to the bathroom and I have this accessory and let's stop being in shame. So that's the period pod episode.
I think we got into the entire conversation of, you know, like asking Katie if we've ever had to go, like our wife sent us to like the Walgreens, like in a rush to go try to find. And I know for sure, like I've had my phone out going, okay, which one, you know, which one am I getting? No, not the Supermax, you know.
Optimize your business with a Workforce AI Edge powered by Visier. Make smarter decisions and achieve better outcomes with real-time AI insights delivered to every people leader. Explore more at visier.com.
I think Chris stayed silent on it, and he's still silent on it.
Embarrassed.
But it's a legitimate workplace topic. I still think has merit. Periods in the workplace.
Yeah, it was a fun one.
I can't remember what generally we do 2 or 3 things on each podcast. I don't know if we did something else. I remember listening to it, and I remember the story about the guy. It was a good episode. We should consider bringing that out of the archive.
We should make it a pay for play. You guys want to listen to it? Give me $5 each.
Wow. Hey.
Is that too much? $5?
I don't like, that's a question, right? So Katie, you said we started the podcast at the wrong time. And I always thought we were late to entry anyways in the podcast world within the HR world, because I thought there was a lot of them out there. Turns out not even close, because there was an explosion in the pandemic of podcasts, and everybody and their brother, every vendor I think has a podcast now. And, and so have you guys listened to any of those or seen any of those? I don't want to like call anybody out, but most of them to me are like self-important CEOs of some like HR tech vendor, like decides like they, we should have like, maybe the marketing told them like we should have a podcast where we bring our clients on, and oh my God, they're awful.
I listen to the best hire ever, the best boss ever. I've started listening to the workplace headspace. I keep it close. That's
friends of the show for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Tim, I had, and maybe we should do this if JLee would do it. I had JLee as a guest, so I'm like 27 episodes into Best Hire Ever.
Yeah,
that I do on the recruiting side. And JLee, correct me if I'm wrong, but I had you on, and we kind of talked about how you were raised.
Mm-hmm.
And your heritage and your history, like super interesting conversation. I learned a lot. And then JLee, in addition to that, I saw that you came in and you commented on one I recently did with Stephanie Lilac.
Loved it.
From Duncan Brands, who, by the way, is just like, she's killer, right, JLee?
So killer. Loved it.
She connected with me on LinkedIn. So
me too. I was like, ooh.
I still haven't got the Gary V connect. So shout out to Gary V, you moron.
But I think the point is, like, if you like, there's a middle ground somewhere. It doesn't have to be three friends like just chopping it up like we do, but you don't also have to like act like a complete vendor. You can just have like a conversation with somebody and dig in a little bit. I think that's interesting. And I've even thought maybe occasionally, to the extent that one of the three of us wants to do it and it fits kind of the HR famous brand, we should have somebody on for an interview and just do like a bonus round, bonus round during the week.
And I like that long form format. I thought I like that. By the way, shout out. We haven't yet acknowledged in our, time recapping that we have had some guest co-host in the mix. So, big shout out to, like, her voice is so amazing for radio or podcast. Dawn Burke, love it. Her voice is so good. It's crisp, clear, and distinct, and she's fun.
Great energy. Laurie was on for her book. We had Laurie Rudiman on for Betting on You. That got launched, and she's having a lot of success with that. Those are the only two, right? Have we had anybody else?
Well, but like Dawn was like a co-host. Laurie was a guest. So I distinguish that.
Dawn, we had Cameron on.
So we had Cameron on. We've had Cameron on.
Yeah, our production person, and also my son,
Resident Gen Z.
Resident Gen Z,
living in Hell's Kitchen currently, across from a semi-sketchy hotel, right there on 10th Street. Right,
not a Marriott. Not a Marriott.
Not a Marriott.
That would be true. That would be true.
So Tim, you staying at the Edition? That's when we go to see him.
It closed down though. By the way, it should reopen, but
good.
So Tim, I'll throw it to you with this one. JLee can jump in. I think you talked about, you kind of brought the house lights down earlier, and got emotional on us, right? And talked to us about your feelings, and stuff. So you and I are pretty good friends. Like, we chop it up often.
Are you going to make me cry?
No, I'm like changing the topic right now. So JLee and I go way back.
Yes.
So like, if I'm ever, what's the right way to say this? Assertively handled by JLee in text or on the podcast. Like, JLee was my first editor at Fistful of Talent. So JLee, consummate professional, but like at times gives no quarter. So I kind of knew that relationship, but you two have talked more like in the last year than you had probably in all that other time together, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, except for that time period that I still like to recollect about, like Tim picked me up from the airport, and
I thought I was going to pick her up or something.
I know, brave of me. Spent time in Michigan for a conference.
And I was driving a Hyundai, so she immediately was like, "Oh, I like this guy."
I love him. He's got a Hyundai.
Was
Amazing.
it wasn't the Camry?
No, it was a Hyundai.
Hyundai XG350, and she's like, "Do you know this is Korean?" And I'm Korean. And then I took her. I'm like, there was this, like, we're at this big conference center, and there's this stupid little like bar restaurant like across the street that was like high end. And so I'm like, oh, let's just go over here like after, I think, and grab a drink. And then you realize like, okay, this is like way too like kind of cozy of a place to take like for.
I know, but you're so nice. But no, we had that memory. And then, this has been the year we spent more time together. And Chris, by the way, even though we go back a long time, this is the most time we've ever spent together. And I think I have gotten to know you better, like even in the past year. And I think we've had more intense, in-depth conversations this year than we have ever had before. So
how's that working out for you?
Well, I'm learning more about you. You know, when you did that thing with Stephanie, the 6 words to describe yourself and what others would describe of you, I think that was spot on. But this year I saw it. I saw it like really in action and in life, like much more than I have ever before.
So I'm going to clip that up and I'm going to like share those 6 words because that was great on Stephanie Lilac's part, right? But so she interviewed me. So when we got on, you know, she used an interview question on me. She said, "Hey, I'm going to do that one, but I'll only do it if you'll answer it on the fly." I was like, "Great, let's go." She didn't tell me what it was, and we did it. How did I do, JLee, with the words others would describe me as?
Well, I think you're very self-aware is what you shared there, and I thought it was good. Challenging. That's the one that stuck with me. I'm like, he knows. Okay, that's good.
Direct.
Yeah.
I think I used direct. Challenging. Yeah. Was there another one that jumped out, JLee?
No, challenging is the one that just really stuck with me the whole time. I'm like, good. I'm glad he knows. Okay.
I'm glad he knows.
Well, I think the reason I asked you that question, do you guys ever get this? Then we'll get back to like the pod. Do you ever like
this is the pod. Yeah.
Well, we'll get back to talking about the pod on the 1-year anniversary of the pod. Tim, let me be direct with you. Do you, JLee, so here's a question for you, because you're a strong professional woman that some people would find intimidating. Does that shock you, JLee?
No. That is accurate, but I have changed over the years. Is also
what's your 6?
My engagement scores right now. Let me tell you.
What's your 6 words that you would use to describe yourself, JLee?
Oh no, come on! This is that's going to take too long. It's going to take too long.
Okay, so
give us 2. Give us 2.
Give us 2, and then I'm going to give you my question.
Self-motivated, creative.
That's 3. Thank you.
No. Self-motivated is 1, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so the question, JLee, is that the reason I asked you for a follow-up to the words I used when Stephanie Lilac interviewed me with that question, or did the mini interview, is do you ever find yourself when somebody gives you a piece of feedback, when they give you that clear window, do you ever find yourself, even if it's hard, do you find yourself drawn to it because you don't get feedback enough in your life?
I don't know. So I welcome feedback, and depending on what you mean by drawn to it, I mean, in the workplace, I welcome feedback. And from my children, I welcome feedback, but I'm drawn to it because it's maybe more of a competitive thing. Like, I'm like, oh, you think that's an area of an opportunity? Like, I'm going to fix that. And that's not going to be an area of opportunity. Like, that ain't going to be a topic of discussion in the future. So I'm drawn to it in that way.
Tim, what about you?
High expectations would be something I would definitely consider. I mean, I have high expectations for myself, but I around others as well. And I think that sometimes people can't handle that. So
I hear about you, I hear has really good best friends.
Good best friend, hugs.
Wait, well, you were asking me, am I drawn to it? And then
no, but okay, I'm going to ask Tim the same question, JLee.
Yeah.
So, Tim, if somebody like if you find yourself in a situation where somebody's giving you like really direct feedback that you don't get a chance to hear a lot, is that you? Do people give you a lot of feedback, or do you only hear it like a couple times a year? Like, I feel like I'm good at like when the rare occasions I get it, I want it more, because I don't hear it and I don't even care if it's brutal. What about you, Tim?
So I got lucky enough, and I don't know if you guys have done this. Have you had a professional 360 done in a corporate setting?
Mm-hmm.
And
I think JLee lives that, right? JLee
So-
works for a bigger organization. She gets a
yeah,
lot of
so I had one of those, and again, the IO psychologist they wouldn't give you your feedback. You had to sit with an IO psychologist and go through it. And when they hand you the book, the guy just said, like, look, it's page 37, right? That because you want to go right to the critical stuff, and then you have like all these other pages of all these great things people are telling you, but you want like that, like there's just a desire. High performers have a desire to know what people truly feel in terms of what we can do better or what we suck at or any of that stuff, because we think as high performers that we can change that. And we can, it's going to take a lot of work. Right. And we probably underestimate how much work it's going to take. So I am, KD, I'm drawn to that. And shout out to people listening. Like if you have a chance to sit down and do a 360 in the work environment, take it. But be aware, like it's a gut punch. Like you're going to get punched in the gut.
Tim, how's that connected with the therapy you go to weekly?
You mean our conversations?
Amen, brother. Amen. Hey, so I'll give JLee, I'm coming back to you. So back to the 1 year anniversary of the pod. So this is a Stephanie Lilac question. Okay. What do you wish you knew that no one told you about doing a pod and spending all this time with Tim and I? What didn't you know that upon reflection, you wish someone would have told you?
Oh, what didn't I know? Well, I didn't know that I would have this much fun. I mean, that's not like a thing that I'm saying like I would do differently, but I didn't actually know I would have this much fun. And that's not a reflection of either of you. I just didn't think I would have this much fun. And I think like the other thing I didn't know is like this year, like that this would be needed. It was like cathartic. It was a break, and it was like a good thing for me to do separate from the day job. So those are things I didn't realize I would benefit from. Other things I didn't know because I'm an amateur. Like I didn't know the difference that a good microphone would make. Like that's like, wow, good microphone makes a big difference.
Got it.
Yeah, I didn't realize the impact. I mean, we knew we were going to do current event stuff, right? But we were thinking, like, Coca-Cola is going to do some stupid, diversity training thing we're going to talk about or whatever, right? But we ended up talking about like real life, everyday events in terms of pandemic, social justice, the election, which was really challenging, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's some of that stuff that you didn't realize how challenging it was to put a podcast together when you had all that kind of real life stuff happening that had an impact on us wanting to talk about HR and talent and all that good stuff. But it was almost overwhelming, the other topics, right?
Yeah. Tough to find anything else to talk about, but at the same time, tough to really talk candidly at times about all that. So yeah, interesting.
Do you feel like you've not given like your, like when you say it's tough to talk candidly, like what percentage of like, are you like, if it's a 0 to 100 and 100 is like candid, 100% brutal truth. Like I've had a few drinks. I'm going to really tell you how I feel. Like what percentage in are you?
Well, I think it depends on the topic, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same question, JLee. So I'll answer yours, and then I want to reframe it and ask you the question I was going to ask you. I think it does depend on the topic, but overall, I would say 60 to 70%, because in today's world, you still have to be careful not to get canceled. So
I wonder if you can use the word cancel culture. We haven't talked about that.
Well, I think that's real. So JLee, here's what I would tell you, and I'll frame it differently. So we're not talking about like how truthful you are, just an overall comfort level from, the first 5 episodes to now. If you're 100% comfortable now, and you seem to be, what percentage were you when we first started doing this?
I was probably 25% comfortable when we first started doing this. And I wouldn't say I'm 100% comfortable still, but like, I also like shout out to my boss or anyone I work with. If you end up listening to this, I think I feel more confident in like my value as a person and as a professional, where sometimes I just also feel like, like if someone really had issue with how I show up, and I feel like I put on a very, I am like the biggest ambassador of our company and our brands and our industry. And I think I show up pretty professionally and reasonable while having fun. If someone really had issue with it, like I have enough stock. I feel like I value myself and like who I am, that like, I'd be like, well, all right, someone else is going to pick me up if this is an issue. I don't know if that's very cocky of me, but I don't know.
I think some of it comes back to us all trusting each other too, right? Like, again, we know like, if any one of us said, hey, I said something, we got to cut that, right? And there's been times when we've done some light editing. I wouldn't say we're pretty good. Usually we push record and you're getting the full show. Like, we're not editing anything out, but once in a while we'll go down a path where something's said and we'll go, okay, you know what? Nope, we got to edit that out. Like Katie, I think there's some of the topics where, if I'm honest with myself, I may be 50% like I'm by myself on some of this stuff because of that fear, as a white guy, to be canceled if I said the wrong thing. And so you have to tiptoe around some of those topics. I think I'm so conscious of it. I would rather not even talk about some of the topics, instead talk about topics that we can be our full selves and just say, hey, here's what I think. Right. And I'm probably getting better, but also understanding that, like, okay, yeah, we have, I have one white dude that I'm looking at, and I have an Asian lady that I'm looking at, millennial, Gen X. If I had like a black professional here talking with us, maybe some of the social justice conversations, or maybe some of the D&I training conversations, or all these other things that we can talk about, I would have a better conversation, or have a more impact, because I could have a real conversation. Like, I feel sometimes like, well, I can't have a real conversation because I don't have a person of color sitting in the room with me. And again, that's not an offense to you, JLee, because you are obviously
no.
I don't have a Hispanic or a black person here that has a different take on this entire thing, which I think would be a completely different one. And again, shout out to the Fistful of Talent crew, because with Black History Month, I did a video with William Wiggins, who's one of our writers, and I thought had a really good like conversation, like I'm talking about. But again, it's topics here or there. It's nothing like that I would say, oh, well, I'm not bringing my full self to the pod kind of thing.
On that note, like, I think one of the things I hope our many, many listeners out there like give us grace on is that like some of these topics in this past year have been really uncomfortable and hard. And like we've wanted to talk about it, but like we've tried to do it in a way where like we're not coming off as complete, like ignorant, dumb arses as we talk about it, but it's like hard. And sometimes I just hope people would give us credit. Like, I know, like, I wanted to know, like, what hate mail have we gotten? And, there was a negative response on iTunes about like the microaggressions episode that we did. And it's like, I spoke from a truthful place of my own experiences. And I hope sometimes people give, us grace. It's not like we are like network news anchors or, like we're just HR friends,
Katie,
talking about.
I know you won't mind if I share, but I think we're probably halfway in, like 25 episodes in. And you and I were both feeling, I think, a little stressed about everything happening. And at some point we go, like, look, our audience, the one thing we know is that we have, like, the audience that we've had in our blogs for like the last 10 years, we have a pretty good handle of who our audience is and who our audience isn't. And at some point we just turned a corner. I know for sure, Katie, you did, that you just said, you know what, our audience is our audience, and let's just talk to our audience. Like, we know who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. There's more though. Like, even though we may have turned that corner, there's like more we could give, right? It's just a question. It's the same way in the workplace, right?
And by the way,
same way,
when I say
the
our
same way
audience,
anywhere in society.
when I know who our audience is, I'm not trying to make that. It's not a race thing at all. It's our audience is HR professionals and HR leaders and TA professionals and TA leaders who want to talk shop. And that's, to me, that's what we want to do. And we wanted to make it less about I'm a male and I'm white and more about I'm a TA leader, I'm a TA professional. I want to talk about that. Like that's the shop we want to talk about.
Speaking of being white, do you think if we went back to look at the episodes, how many times have we talked about like pasty skin color of like, well, I think we talk about like someone being pasty, I'm so pale, sunscreen. I wonder how many times we have talked about that.
Keep going, JLee. What's the point? That we talk about pasty skin, but no other skin.
That's just funny to me. I mean, it's just part of the common jab that is given to one another between.
By the way, we have to
deprecating.
Sorry to talk over you again, but
yeah,
we have to do an episode where I talk about our 23andMe, my genetics.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. I'm never going to take 23andMe. I mean,
we should all take it.
Okay.
We should all take it, and then we should talk about it.
I don't want them having my data. That's the
Oh God, they already have our data. Like, what? I mean, we're that naive to think
the person who doesn't do face recognition on their phone, though. That's weird. We just swapped places on that.
Right, but he'll give you his DNA.
Give it freely. He wants the Sackett genes out there.
And you're looking at it, and you're like, East Berlin.
Yep.
Let me do the math on that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, everybody. We're 45 minutes in, episode 52, 1 year in. I'm so thankful that we started this. I'm thankful for my co-hosts, Jessica Lee and Chris Dunn. This was it. This is the 1 year. Anything, guys, to add before we get out of here?
I'm thankful for having sensitive people as part of my crew. So thank you, Tim Sackett and JLee. JLee, I don't know if you're as sensitive as Tim is. Probably not.
No sensitivity?
I don't know. No, I am sensitive. See, that's the misnomer about me. And look at that face. That face. I am sensitive. That is a misnomer about me. I wouldn't use that as one of my 6 words I describe myself as, but I have feelings.
I would start naming those. I'd be like, "What's JLee?" Well, it's sensitive. Anyway, I'm joking. I'm gonna get in trouble with JLee now, but I am thankful for this pod and doing it with both of you. It's been a fun ride, and I hope we my wish. And JLee, I'll throw it to you to close this out. My wish is we continue to learn and we continue to evolve with this. We keep having fun and we keep challenging each other while we're doing it. And my wish is that it continues to be one of the best parts of our week.
I agree. I think, this is it's a valuable skill. There's a few things. One is we're forced to have an opinion about things. And I think that is important. And I think I'd want for others to foster and cultivate that for themselves and for their teams, but also power of the network and, having people you can turn to who can help you think about things critically, differently, and better, because I know that I am just surrounded by a bubble of things that just are an echo chamber of all the things I already believe in. And so it's good to have other opinions. So I am appreciative of that. But it's been fun. Let's keep doing this.
All right.
Episode 104 in about a year. Let's do that.
All right. For Jessica Lee and Chris Dunn, I'm Tim Sackett, HR Famous. That's 1 year in the books. We are out.